Oh man, some of y'all might know my face. Some of you might know my voice because you've listened to my other podcast, Murderous, Not As Debatable, Run the Slow Motion, which maybe with my wife will bring that back. I don't know. But I want to do something new, something a little bit different that I haven't done before with someone who's not in the business at all because I enjoy that. So I'm doing with my big brother over here, Mr. David Greaves. What's up, bro?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Yeah. We don't have a name for this podcast yet. So as you are seeing this right now, we still have not come up. We're still playing with this name and that name, this name and that name. But no show must stop just because of a name. So we're going to get this thing rocking and rolling. If you guys like the podcast, please let us know. Go ahead and leave us some type of, hey, man, you guys are pretty cool. Yeah. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel as well. And I'll have another podcast I'll be releasing shortly also. It's just me all by myself. Just trying to get some of the business out the way. I will also be continuing my tour, I should say. I'll be heading up to Columbus to be at the Forum. Thank you, sir. Later on this month. So you can go ahead and get those tickets at SidneySmithCreative.com. Then I'm going to be with my homie Pete Lee over in Michigan. You can go and grab tickets over there at the same website. And then if you're right here in the Phoenix market, you can come out and check me out headlining at the Improv, or Desert Ridge Improv, the night before Thanksgiving, the biggest bar night of the year. That's why I told Matt and those guys I got to have that night, and they're like, let's do it. So looking for everybody in my Phoenix market to come on out and support and have a great time before you have to go and eat your grandmother's dry ass turkey the next day.
Come on through,
bruh. Cheers. I want to cheers to you. We don't have any sponsors yet, but he and I and our other brother Ant, we like to sit down and sip on some beverages from time to time. And today we are having Penelope. Mm-hmm. So it is good. It is smooth.
Yes.
If you are a bourbon drinker, I say go get it. Get it. If you happen to, let them know you like it, say Sidney and Dave sent you.
Yes. Beautiful with a cigar too.
100%. I'm going to be over with the fellas with the Thursday night smoke show tomorrow night having the cigar. I want to let y'all know what kind of asshole though my brother is. So I got some hand sanitizer.
It's baby oil.
It's right up here in my office where we sitting, baby oil. And I knocked it off. And what did you say?
The diddler strikes again.
So I was like, you're an asshole, man. And the crazy thing is I just shut the door too.
It's going to pull out on him.
Now, by the time you guys see this, some of the news that we get ready to talk about in terms of Diddy will have already been released. Mm-hmm. But bro, what do you think about? Maybe you haven't heard this. I just heard this today. I got some notes here, my trusty notepad, in case people are watching and see this. But his lawyers are getting ready to file, or have already filed, for a third opportunity in front of a judge. Supposed to be a different judge this time, to try to get him out of jail. One of the things they are going to come at the judge with is that insufficient evidence for tampering with witnesses and for being a danger to the community. Do you think, and obviously, speak as much as you want on it, but my thought process on it was, and I wanted to ask you, what do you think? You think this man gets out of jail tomorrow? Do you think they let him out because of this?
With a super high bond, he might.
Okay.
Because, here in the United States, it's easy to get out of jail. They have to have a whole lot of evidence to keep you in jail because you're supposed to be innocent till proven guilty. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But on another note, I say danger to the community. Yeah, probably so.
Hell no, he ain't getting out of jail. Hell no. They've already told you, and I was talking to my mother about this. My mother doesn't stay on top of all this stuff, so I talked to her about it. She'll ask me questions, and I just tell her what I think along with the information. Like Dave, that's one thing you're gonna love about this podcast. We both try to stay informed, and what we don't know, we just say we don't know. Mm-hmm. And if y'all know it, if you disagree or agree, go ahead and leave it in the comments. But hell no, he ain't getting out of jail. The government has already told you, we don't care about you selling your house. We don't care about you selling your plane. We don't care about your $50 million. Yeah. We don't care about them passports, sir. Hell no, he's not getting out. I did see that some people going back and forth today talking about, some people who know more than I do, say that what you're probably going to find is the prosecution is going to have to unleash some of this evidence that they have on his ass.
Yes.
Since his new defense team is trying to say there's insufficient evidence to keep him in.
It's going to be interesting. Again, I would like to say he would get out because I want a fair justice system for everybody. Mm-hmm. And I believe he's going to go to jail eventually because, again, the federal prosecution and a lot of it was state crimes. But again, I think he's going to eventually go to jail forever. But eventually, they got to let him out to put on a defense.
Look, this is what I say. This is me, all right? And I'm in there. And I got all the paper he got. You let me out,
Yeah,
I'm gone.
Yeah.
All right?
I'm him and Russell.
I'm never, me and Roman Polanski will be wherever Roman is that they don't seem to have brought his ass back from, chilling.
I would go.
I'm not
if I was
going
him,
to.
I would leave. I would leave.
I'm gone.
Undoubted, without a doubt. Again, because my understanding is that he has a lot of money in offshore accounts.
Yes.
Like hundreds of millions.
Yes.
So I could buy a passport for somebody that won't let me come back.
You have, like I told my mother, when you have that kind of money, you can do anything you want. That's why these guys do. And a lot of them don't get caught because, I'm not going to sit here and act like it's Puffy all by himself. I'm sure there's some names he could mention, and maybe he will, maybe he won't. But I'm gone. I'm not seeing no trial date.
If they keep him in, I don't see him making it to trial.
I said the same thing. Some people out there are going to agree. Some people are going to disagree. I don't think Epstein just hung himself. I think, you don't. I don't think someone took a break and someone just happened to fall asleep on duty this particular day, and he killed himself.
No, that just smelled all bad. I don't think Puffy's actually built for jail. Again, when you've had that much money and been able to do what you wanted to do for so long, you don't just suddenly be confined to a 5x8 cell and told what to do and have people trying to take your manhood or beat you up or do it, like it's a whole different world. So I don't think he's going to make it to trial if they keep him locked up. So
I was sitting watching, and I asked Dave when he got here, if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. I'm not going to spoil it. Not that you don't already know the ending to it, but watching the Menendez brothers, Monsters, on Netflix. Check it out. And so I'm watching that, and I'm seeing it being portrayed in this film, in this miniseries, whatever it was, that you have these two young men in their 20s. One is, I think, 18, 19. The other one's 20 years old, something around there. Been rich kids their entire life. And then they have to go from that to living in a jail cell. And at one point, once Eric, the younger brother, finally comes to this realization that this is what it is. But what if this happened? What if this happened? What if this happened? And there was a priest in there said, look, I don't want you not to believe that you will get out one day, but I don't want you to hang everything on that. You're going to have to I need you to find a meaningful life inside of here. And I just sat there watching this, bro. And I'm not going to, at my age now, I don't know if I could do that. And so it made me think about Puff to be his age with everything he's had, the fame, the money, obviously the access to whatever he's wanted to have on this planet. I don't know how you could even get your mind wrapped around that I'm spending my life in here.
You have to have a really strong mind. And I just don't think that when you've not been told no for so long that you have a strong mind anymore. You're used to whatever you want, whenever you want it. And in jail, it's not that way. I don't care how much money you got. You still can't get up and leave whenever you want to,
Right.
So I feel bad for, anybody who has to do that time. I feel bad he has to do that time, but you do the crime, couldn't have been my family.
And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna be all over the place with this, y'all. So keep up with me. Here's something else, because for people who are just catching us for the first time, I'm a professional comedian. Been doing it for 15, 16 years. I've got a chance. That's why you see some of the pictures behind me. I got a chance to work with some of the best that are walking around doing it right now. And have enjoyed my career, having a great time now on my first tour. And in this business, starting back when I was just a young comic, and I told you this, but opening up for this black comedian, and I'm not gonna mention any names, and he's based out of the Midwest, and I said, hey, bro, why don't you go out to LA? And he said, because I'm not trying to let anybody, me. And I said, what? And he started telling me, bro, you go out to LA, you got to do X, Y, and Z, and the execs are trying to do this, that, and the other. Now, in my young comic's mind, and I told you this, I'm thinking, motherfucker, you just ain't funny enough, and you just scared. fast forward to now, just everything that is rolling out with the Puff stuff and some other things that I've learned and names that I won't mention here. It's just bananas. And just to think that this is any part of what you have to do to get to that height of this entertainment shit. Mm-hmm. I can't get my head wrapped around it, bro.
I don't think it's...
And can we talk about what you've done in your past without you? Because I know you've got some NDAs you've signed.
Yes.
Can we at least say that you've been around some folks?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. But you go ahead and break it down. I'll let you explain.
We can say that I've been around some folks. 20 years as a bodyguard. So I've seen some things and been around some people. Mm-hmm. Everybody doesn't have to go that one route, but there's a lot of it. And any success, I think, whether it's corporate or Broadway or whatever, you have to pay a price, a penance to move along faster. As you know, there's a lot of drudging around when you do it the hard way. Mm-hmm. If you want to do it the easy way and just sell, yourself out, but then you can't ever get that back.
Right.
So you have to have an inner strength to say what is worth it and what's not. In anything, corporate America, the boss says, well, you got to work 70 hours and you got to, you can't go to your baby's birth because you got to stay here and do this work.
Right.
At what point do you say, nah, right. I'm not going to be here? So right. It's something that you pay either corporate or society type thing, But yeah, there's a lot of interesting things that occur that make you question whether or not people are what they say they are, is what I'll say.
No. Yes, I will have to agree with that. Again, hear some stories, getting to see some things, and have not been in those rooms, so have not been in these, I should say, these alleged parties, these alleged happenings. Mm-hmm. I do say, I hope that you don't have to do these things. I mean, right when he got arrested, there were a number of individuals that stepped down from positions in many different industries. Some of them have been attached to him and these parties. So I want to wait and see what all comes from it. Do you think they should let him take the stand?
Never. Never. Because the sniper bullet's going to come through the window first and foremost. If he ever gets on the stand, if he makes it to the stand.
I don't know what you say about how did you explain 1,000 bottles of baby oil?
I don't understand how you put him on the stand because you got to get cross-examined. So when you say, Mr. Diddler, Mr. Diddy, Puffer Puff, what are you doing with 1,000?
Objection. Objection to Diddler.
1,000 bottles of baby oil. What do you need that for? What about these people that you brought from state to state to, have infamous parties with?
Yeah.
I just make them prove the case.
Right.
Vice you giving them free lunch. I mean, if you look at the dude from Atlanta, the rapper.
Who are we talking about?
Young Thug, I think it is.
Oh, yeah.
I watched some of that case and I'm like, the prosecution is falling apart with some of the stuff they're asking. And people are like, I don't know. I don't remember. Well, you don't remember this? No, I lied. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point he gets a whole lot less time than people think he's going to get.
I'm looking at this like the OJ trial, because that popped in my head too, where you would have thought with all of the money that OJ had at that time and the type of defense he put together, Johnny Cochran, Shapiro, Kardashian, I can't think of some of these other folks that was on there, but they were high profile as well. He still had to get on the stand and say, I didn't do it. I think it took the prosecution making a mistake.
Yes.
With those gloves and a couple and with what's the name of the cop, the racist cop?
Yeah.
I can't think of his name, but making a couple of mistakes for OJ to be able to get off with that. I mean, I think they had his ass dead to rights if it wasn't for a couple of missteps that they took.
But that's all it takes is a couple missteps. Right. That's why, as the defendant, unless you make me get on the stand, no. Because again, if you say one thing wrong, it's upon the state or the federal government to prove
Right.
that you did something.
Right.
And I need the proof to be beyond a shadow of a doubt that my defense can't raise any type of a, well, maybe not. And only then do I get on the stand. So
and that's what I was going, and that's kind of where I was going with this. If he has to end up getting on the stand, something went wrong for him in this trial.
Yeah.
Because with the amount of money he's going to be able to throw, he's got way more money than OJ had.
Yes.
So he's got money to go through several trials if he had to.
yes, but again, like OJ, they're going to catch him for something. Eventually, because I don't think he has the same disease as OJ, where you just feel like you're invincible. You feel like you can't be stopped.
You think he does have that? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, he has an arrogance about him because he's been able to do what he wanted to do for so long. It's just when you're not told no. Like I joke with you all the time is that I'm just going to say no sometimes just to say no because you need to hear no. No, you don't need a boat. You don't like the water.
Right.
You know.
Right, I joke with you, and I tell my mom and I tell my wife as well. I say I got enough of you no people. I got to give me some yes people. Y'all say no way too much. But you're right. It is something to hearing no. It's almost like looking at these stars, and I know it's a difference because these stars, a lot of them are adults. But looking at them in the same vein as you would look at a child that's never been told no.
Yes, like the basketball players that play. What's the name of that organization they play in?
Talking about the NBA?
No, the young kids. They play basketball for these teams.
Oh, you're talking about the AAU.
AAU.
Yeah.
They get money. They get to be able to just shoot. Mm-hmm. They don't play any defense. So then when they get to the NBA, you got a one-way player.
Yeah.
Because everybody want to be, Steph. I'm just going to shoot like Steph. Okay, well, there's only one Steph.
Yeah.
So what else do you do? So it's sad, but in anything that you do, not being told no is unrealistic.
We've also heard, and I'm not breaking any ground here. This is something I wanted to talk about with you on the pod, on our first one. We're also hearing whispers that J-Lo may have to be brought back in for some things because of the Shine shooting. And Shine has come out and said, I told y'all it wasn't me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The girl who got shot in the face said it wasn't Shine, said it was Puff.
Yeah.
Okay, how did the guns get in? Allegedly, J-Lo has something to do with that. People are now, I'm seeing people now talking more about Biggie again.
Yeah.
What did Puff have to do with that? So I think this opens him up to more things. We're seeing now, and I wrote it down here, there have been 12,000 calls that have come in saying that Diddy has done something. This is being done by those 120 accusers.
Yes.
So do I think that all of these people have a gripe? No. A Gloria Allred.
Yeah. Yeah. People are going to come out the woodwork.
Yeah. This one woman said that Puffy forced her to have sex and that she was raped by his bodyguard and they recorded it and they whatever, and now she's busted being on a phone call talking to her man at the time, saying, hey, I just need you to say this and I'll pay you.
Yeah.
So I don't think everybody who's making these phone calls, I mean, there's not that much time in the world for this dude to have done as much.
I have a hard time with people saying they were raped or people saying they were assaulted, or mistreated and then come to work every day for 5 more years. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying I have a hard time understanding that you got back up and you came back to work and you continued to work for somebody who mistreated you badly. And, like the country singer is being sued by his hairdresser.
Okay.
And he's like, she tried to extort me. I got a lawsuit against her. I think that if anybody brings a lawsuit and it's found to be false, you need to go to jail. Mm-hmm. That would stop a lot of the mess. And everybody trying to get paid because, he's going to go to jail. I can come out now and I could say this happened in 1986 and move on.
Yeah, you and I had this conversation before. Your sister got mad at me when she was in town.
Yes.
She and I were having a conversation when Bill Cosby was in the spotlight for everything that he was accused of. And my argument has been much the same with that. If that happened to you, God bless, I want nothing but for you to see justice done for you. But I do have a hard time, much like you said, we're talking about 30, 40 years later, and you're coming out of the woodwork. Mostly because I do not believe, I think if you have a lot of money in your pocket, you're going to have people who come out and say, well, I think I can get in on this. Yeah. And I don't think that is given as much weight as the other thing.
Yes. And if you're going to say this happened to you, great, and you want justice, then that person doesn't pay you any money. You're just looking for a conviction, some time to be served. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Right.
But when you start to ask for $20 million or else, no, I that's not justice. That's you want to get paid.
Right. Right.
And that person 10 years ago, 4 years ago, you didn't think about it.
Right.
But now you see Cassie get paid and everybody else getting paid. So now you want to get paid.
I mean, talk about someone who's never been more deserving to be paid than Cassie. When you see the video,
yeah,
and you talk about arrogance and the arrogance before when it comes to Puff, Diddy, whatever he's going by, he allegedly paid for that video, and obviously he walked around with the confidence that he had the only copy, that nobody else had it. And that he could just keep on living life the way that he was living life, which he was able to for a long time.
Yes, it was.
And so I was like, who was sitting on this video for all that?
Almost a decade?
Yes. Who's sitting on it? And God forbid, because I'm not God forbid, but I'm going to say this. It was almost like it was perfect timing.
Yeah, again,
to drop it.
This is the thing that makes the conspiracy things come out in my head, and I'm not a real conspiracy theorist, but it's like the movie with Marky Mark where he's the shooter. They shoot the president. And then they're like, I
think it's called Shooter. Isn't it?
Yeah. They find the gun.
Yeah.
And they just the cop just happened to be walking past. And it's just too convenient that it came out. And then now the supposed Justin Bieber film is out. And then now all the accusations and he happened to have the lawsuit against the liquor company.
Yeah.
So it just.
How much of this do you put on that though? Because I was thinking about the same thing, and I try not to be a conspiracy theorist as well, and I try to my entire life. But the older you get, I don't know if we get a little loopier as we get older, or what it is, or maybe we get a little wiser.
Yeah,
and we can say, I can see how that dot can connect and connect and connect and connect. How much of this do you put? Because when you talk about Cosby, they talk about, they started trying to take Cosby down when he tried to buy NBC.
Yeah.
When you hear about Michael Jackson, they tried to take Michael Jackson down because he owned the Beatles rights.
And 60% of whatever it was.
Yes, and then Disney stole his ideas for things he had. How much weight do you really put on it when we're talking about the Puffy stuff, though? And I would love to know from you guys, too, how much weight do you really put on the conspiracy side of this? How much of this is due to him getting into the disagreement with the liquor company?
I think that anytime you open a door, you allow stuff to come in and go out. So when I don't want to say when you forget your place, but
that's a great way to put it.
When you forget your place, you're just reminded of it. Like, again, we are still going to let you know where you fit in the totem pole of life. So
I think it also comes down to, and I don't want to mention anybody's names, but there's some very high profile individuals in different entertainment industries that we can name, anyone can name off the top of their heads, that have done a great job of putting themselves in a position and in other industries where they're going to make money for themselves and make money for those people for a very, very long time.
Yes.
And when you and probably carry themselves with enough, with their heads maybe down low enough to where they don't affect anything, and they can kind of just go ahead and do whatever and live their life the way they want to live their life. I'm getting a little long-winded. I apologize for but I'm trying to agree with you. I think that he probably raised his head up and looked you in the eyes when he was supposed to raise his head up and look you in the eyes.
Just think of...
And wasn't making enough money for them to say we're going to tolerate that.
As his compadre who has a similar background.
Who you think about? Dane?
No, Jay.
Okay, Jay. Okay.
Has understood that I got to leave some of that hood stuff alone.
Yeah.
And I got to do in order to make corporate money and to be a billionaire. I got to play the game, so to speak, of life. And anything you play a game. And I think that at certain times, the arrogance comes out and you forget that you still ain't the richest dude in the room. There's folks who got more money, like 100 times more money than you, that you're trying to affect their needle.
Yeah.
And don't think that they can't do stuff behind the scenes. You know, again, you have to understand who you are. Like 50 is 50, and I think that they just afraid of 50 because 50 is 50 always.
But I would say with 50 hasn't stepped on any toes of anybody.
No, I just think he speaks like, listen, I'm not gonna play, and we gonna treat each other right. Or
I would agree with you with that. 50 probably came through the door the same way that he walks now.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not gonna, and this is obviously we're not in any of these rooms, so this is just speaking
speculation.
100%. But you're probably right that he came through. This is how I come into the room. And this is how I'm always going to come into the room. Yeah. I'm not doing this over here. I'm not doing that over there.
I'm not doing a shuck and jive. I'm not going to be hee and kikiing and doing the dance in the background and then doing dirt. Like, again, you got to understand how you're living. I don't care if you're a married person, if you're in the streets, running the streets. At some point, you got to clean your tail off. Yeah. And if you leave your tail dirty, somebody's going to see it.
Yeah, and also, you know, to my comedic hero, Chris Rock had that great bit a million years ago, but it still rings true, talking about, and I'm not going to do the bit, but within the setup, he talks about, you know, Shaq is rich. Mm-hmm. The man who writes Shaq's checks is wealthy. Yeah. And
it's a difference.
And when you're looking at Puff was
rich.
But
he wasn't wealthy.
But he wasn't. The guy, here was the crazy thing with that liquor shit. I think everybody, including myself, almost everybody, we thought he owned all of that. Yeah. And no, that was not. That wasn't really yours.
Yeah, he made it seem like it.
Yes.
And you know, again, as much Ciroc commercials that he did and pushed it, he was a great salesman.
Yes.
But at a certain point, I don't care how much you sell. If you come to me incorrectly, then. And you start to threaten my bottom line.
Because the other thing, you know why he got into the beef with them was because, hey, why aren't y'all trying to push some stuff to the white people? Yeah. Seemed like y'all only pushing the people who look like me.
Because that's all you can sell to.
And
let's keep it, again, I don't think if I'm a billionaire, am I drinking Ciroc or am I drinking Grey Goose? Yeah.
Or whatever. Or whatever billionaires would.
Yes, whatever they drink, because I don't know. But again, Ciroc is a hood drink. It's a hood drink. I drank it when I was 20-something years old, and then after that you go, this is garbage. It's like drinking malt liquor. At a certain point, you get too old to drink cheap stuff.
I was getting ready to say, I myself have never ordered myself any Ciroc. And there's nothing wrong with different liquors being sold and drank in different areas of the country. Mm-hmm. I myself have never, and I don't know anybody who does not look like me and you who I've seen order some Ciroc.
Malt liquor is not sold in a supermarket of any substance. It's sold from the corner store. You ain't getting Schlitz malt liquor in Scottsdale. No.
Oh, yeah, for folks out there, we're based in Phoenix. Yes, you're not getting Schlitz.
Valentine, you're just not getting Mad Dog. It's like there's just certain stuff you're not getting in demographic. I mean, even supermarkets. There's certain supermarkets that are based for certain economic areas.
Yeah.
They're not going to have a ritzy one in a hood, and they're not going to have the cheap one in the ritzy area.
Well, just like you're not going to go to your neighborhood or my neighborhood and find a liquor store.
Yeah. No.
There's some neighborhoods you will.
Yes.
And this isn't me knocking those neighborhoods. This is me saying I'm glad that my wife and I and you and your wife have put yourselves and ourselves in a position Well, that's not something I want to see.
I got to drive to Bevmo, not go on the corner and it's there with the bars up and the whole nine and the plastic bulletproof glass. No, I'm good.
Yes,
I'm past that, and I'm okay with being past that. I'm bougie. Let me put my finger up for y'all.
I was waiting for Bougie Dave to show up on the podcast. I want to see how long it was going to take. I had no idea how long it was going to take. Let me see how. If you guys see me looking at my watch, it's because we're recording this thing, and it's not because I'm trying to see when I can get the hell away from you people. I just want to make sure how long we've been going and make sure everything is good.
We'll talk for about 2 hours. We talk 2 hours easy.
Oh man, and I don't have a problem. We're not on a time limit. I just want to make sure everything. This is our first time recording. This is my first time recording this way, so we'll make sure everything is smooth. But I was waiting to see when Bougie Dave was going to show up.
He's always there.
Again, Penelope right here. That's what we're sipping on right now. Smooth. Not the bougiest of bourbons we've had, but it's smooth.
It's real smooth.
Yeah.
I think about 2 or 3 and it'd be slurring and.
Yeah, you got to be careful because I'm about done with this, and I only had a quarter, and I'm feeling nice. Right
we might have to break.
Ain't no breaks. Ain't no breaks.
To get fuzzy on the podcast, we'll be back.
Go get off. I'm gonna take a nap. Come back and finish up this pot. You touched on it before though with the Bieber stuff, man.
That hurts my heart.
I think you got more. I think you know a little bit more about it than I do because I think you've watched more whatever clips than I have. I've been trying to keep up with it, and I've been hearing about this, hearing about that. But it sounds like this young man had a hard existence.
But, allegedly, again, let's say allegedly. But just think about the things that we do know. When he was young, his father was his momager, and he used to let him go to the club, get drunk, and hang out and do all types of stuff. At what point do you not have a like he didn't have a chance in hell is what I want to say. It's like having 2 crackheads for your mom. Yeah. Yeah. When you start to hang out with your kids, when he's 16, 17 years old, letting them stay overnight, like you're 16, you know? So I feel bad. And I've seen a lot of younger stars that have gone through the gauntlet. And, you know, you see them in their 20s and they're drug addicted, alcohol, or they run away from the business. Each and every one of them. Right. At some point, you know, that was childhood stars. Like when you talk to them now, you're like, oh, okay.
And a lot of them are broken, going all the way back to the 70s, as far back as I'm thinking.
Partridge Family Kids?
Yeah, the Partridge Family Kids. That's what I was thinking about, some of those. There's a doc, I can't remember if it's on...
Nickelodeon one?
It might be on HBO Max. What's that?
The Nickelodeon one?
No, it's on Gary Coleman.
Oh, okay, yeah, another good one.
And it's a recent one that they just dropped, and they talk about him and his life and everything he went through.
Todd Bridges
and Todd Bridges and Dana Plato, who played his sister.
Yeah.
But I was thinking more about Gary specifically because, what is going back to what you were talking about? His parents was his managers.
Yeah. Yes.
And think about what they did with his money.
Yeah.
And what they allowed other people to do with the money. And when they go and interview his manager today, who's still alive, you know, he's almost like, I had nothing to do with it. It didn't have anything to do with me. Well, you didn't speak up. It didn't sound like, sir, because you still collecting your check as well. Yeah. And even talk to his parents today. They still say they didn't do anything, even though in black and white they showed it in court.
Yeah, it's sad that I'm going to say most of parents because they forget what they're there to do because it's again the yes people. Yeah. When your existence is dependent upon that person liking you, or you know whether they making TV shows or making money, you don't make money, right? You know, so you know I'll just take 20% off the top, and then and then they start to forget that it's your money, and they think it's our money.
Well, for people out there who don't know, because I didn't know, in the state of California, they make you set up a look at it like a pie, that everyone's getting their slice of this pie. Well, they make sure that there's a slice of pie left for the kid, almost like a retirement fund. Yeah, and
trust type of thing.
Yes, the parents started taking loans out of that trust and not paying it back, and they would say, well, we were taking it because so-and-so told us we should, and we should invest in this. And every investment these people made completely failed, completely terrible. This young man, he's older than I am, or was older than I am. No money, working as a security guard. Used to be, and then you take on top of that, with his career on Different Strokes and wanting them to change the subject lines to something that was a little older, but they didn't want to because they wanted to keep him young forever. And then, of course, like we see with a lot of these child stars, we've seen it. I don't know why, but Jaleel White just popped in my head. Yeah, they have a real issue with trying to be seen beyond whatever we grew up and loving them as.
Britney Spears, same difference.
Same thing with Britney.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time, if you look at all of because that was Disney, the Disney crew that started off, all of them did something racy in order to break away from the Disney curse.
Christina did this. Yeah,
Christina Aguilera.
Mandy Moore was a part of that until she said, I don't want to do that, and kind of found her lane, which Mandy Moore, beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. But she found her lane in what she decided to do with the acting and everything. Justin Timberlake was another one that was part of that crew.
To do the Janet in order to get...
I know I can't even say where I was, but I remember exactly where I was when that happened.
Yes.
And I missed it.
Yeah. Well, they had it. You could watch it real quick if you wanted to.
I saw that they had something, not to venture off too far, but where they talked about how some people thought Justin didn't take enough heat from that. That Janet had to take she took all the weight from that, when it was Justin's hand that pulled made the mistake.
Yes, and that's why he kind of faded away for a minute. Just like, when he got this DUI, he kind of disappeared for a minute. Again, when you smart and rich, you do things like, I messed up, let me keep the heat off me, not be seen, and fade into the woodwork. Plea out somewhere so that nobody knows it happened, and we keep it moving, and then another 2 years I'll pop back up.
Right.
But these are the problems with, I'm going to say, our color skin, where we want to be arrogant and I'm untouchable.
Okay.
And rub it in folks' eyes, so to speak.
I don't know if it's a melanin thing or not, though. I think because, we've seen plenty of folks who don't look like us get busted for things of this sort.
Well, Harvey had the same arrogance.
Yes, and I think that's where it is. I think that's the through line right there.
Yeah, but he didn't have that arrogance after the first day of trial. No. Again, I love it because he walked in standing tall and strong. The very next day, he had a walker bent over like he was 95 years old.
So let's put his glasses on.
Listen, he was like, I can't. I was like, dude, you just walked in there yesterday. What happened? They broke your back already?
It is, I can't think of a crime I wouldn't want to have to go to court for, but anything to do with women or kids or anything like that, no, sir. No. Because I don't care how much money you have, especially when they love to tear the rich and powerful down.
Yes.
No, sir.
You never get that stink off of you. Those are the things that,
even if you do get
molested, you raped. Oh, that's the dude who raped. Even if you got acquitted, you're still. Oh, that's the dude who molested. It's those words that never come off of you. No matter what you do, it's like skunk. It just doesn't come off of you. So it's hard to. It's hard to hear somebody, again, which is why for me and you, we say our character. Like if somebody said, well, yeah, you did that. Nah, it wasn't them. No. They didn't do that.
No.
Like you might have punched somebody in the mouth, but they didn't take nothing.
Which is why when stuff happens and everyone wants to light a torch and run in that direction like they're going to get Frankenstein, I'm always like, well, let's just take a beat, because to your point, you can't get that off of that person if we come to find out this is not true.
Even I'm a firearms person, so when I hear about a cop shooting somebody or somebody, and I'm always like, well, wait a minute, let's let all the evidence come out first.
You do.
Because when it all comes out, you might be going, well, I don't know if I believe that. Well, wait a minute, this is what the camera showed. They had a gun, so this is why it happened this way. But once you make a judgment initially because you see 5 seconds of film or somebody said something, you're set yourself up for failure.
And those are some tricky conversations to have when you're talking about things of that nature, because it is so easily to, and we talk about this all the time, it's so easy for people to go into their camps.
Yeah.
I'm black, so regardless of what, I'm going in this direction, and I'm Caucasian, and regardless of this, I'm going in this direction. So those can be those tricky conversations to have with people, especially in today's age where nobody wants to listen to anything that does not echo what they already believe in their heads.
Sad, but yes.
And so I think you got to be open to a little bit of everything. But even when we're talking about Sean Diddy Combs, you have to be open to everything. Now, there could be something that his defense team throws on the table, and we're like, oh man, I didn't see that coming again. Or some of the evidence was obtained illegally, and then now that gets thrown out, and then again you have 120 people now. Like, how much of that do you say is real and how much of that is fluffy stuff? So if you put the wrong fluffy person up there, just like in OJ, if you put the wrong person up there, that's it.
It changes everything.
That's it.
Because it is judged by 12, and all you need is one person to be like, I think they setting them up.
But I will say this though, when you're talking about the Southern District of New York, they don't come knocking.
96%, something like that. 90s, high 90s. Yeah. They gonna catch you for something, and that's what I'm saying is that I believe something. If they throw 15 crimes up there, one of those 15, he's gonna get jammed up. It might be the only one, but that's still gonna be 15, 20 years.
Yeah,
because the trafficking, I think they got him on that one.
I don't know how. I'm with you. I don't know how this was going to turn out. I don't know if he's going to be found innocent, guilty, another day in jail, gets out, he flees. I don't know about how any of this. One thing I do know for sure, ain't nobody going to stop listening to the music.
No.
All right?
People still playing R. Kelly. Like that. I remember they was like, oh, man, you can't play R. Kelly. Why? He didn't rape my cousin.
You still stepping in the name of love out here.
Listen.
Nobody's going to stop listening to any of the music. Jerry Lee Lewis music is still being played somewhere.
Didn't he marry his cousin?
He did.
And she was like 12?
Yeah, something like that. Allegedly.
Nah, it wasn't allegedly. I think they got proof on the marriage certificate.
Hey, I don't need someone in part of Jerry Lee Lewis.
This clan to come get us. Yeah, I'm sorry. Allegedly, she was 12. Maybe she was 13 and a half. I don't know.
Next time I'm doing this podcast, I'm doing it from a 1-bedroom where they got a liquor store down the street all of a sudden.
Yeah, listen, don't worry. I ain't got puffy money, but I know how to flee.
I'm still blown away that he didn't run.
Yeah, because again, he thought that he wasn't. I don't want to bring up Mr. Simmons, but he ain't here.
Yeah, but
he does come back.
He does. He's back and forth.
Yeah, but he come back real quick. But you ain't heard him like.
No, he's quiet.
He quiet again,
which kind of maybe speaks to your possible conspiracy theory that you shouldn't have said what you shouldn't have said. You shouldn't fall back.
But again, if it's how many people's faces do you get to spit in before enough people say, "Yo, holla at my boy"? Like maybe it wasn't just the liquor. Maybe it was this and this and this and this. And that's the problem, is that because you get away with so much for so long that you forget that anybody can get touched. They shot old boy in the ear a couple months ago. So if he can get touched, we all can get touched.
You know what I'm thinking about now? And it's hard. He's having a hard existence right now, boy. Deshaun Watson.
Oh, yeah. Because didn't he just get allegedly another, but I think it was from somebody in the past still trying to sue him. So I call smoke on that one. But
no, but I'm sitting here thinking about, it wasn't until he told Houston, I don't want to be here.
Yeah. And then allegedly the owner dropped some of that stuff out there.
Yes. And that's what I'm talking about. When you're talking about the conspiracy theories, it was amazing how all that stuff stayed quiet until you don't want to be here.
Oh, okay. Where? I'm gonna take my hand off of you.
And
that's the difference between wealth and rich.
Yes.
Because Deshaun was rich.
Yes.
He's a lot richer now, but
the people still wealthy.
yes, people listen. The owner, the dude who write the check is always gonna be more wealthy than you.
And so not only did they just give you, you know, 100 million, whatever they gave them. Now all of a sudden you don't want to be here. You want to be traded.
Yeah.
I got something for you.
Yeah. No problem. We got you.
Rich people petty too. Wealthy people petty too. I should say. And can afford to do it.
And with the sly hand,
Can afford it.
it wasn't me. Listen, you look at it. You know, it's election time, and all you hear is the commercials. This person, this person, this person. That's all that side money.
Oh yeah.
So
all day. That's why the money stay dark.
Yeah. So you know, if they can do it, again, I'm petty broke. So I could only imagine with a couple mil. Boy, it'd be, I'll tell you, I'm gonna have the security guard and be like, "Oh, we come to see David." He said he's not here. What? Yeah, he said he's not here. You can't come in.
Yeah, you already talked about, you know, when you get, you know, the money you gonna get, you gonna have a moat.
But with a gated, armed security, that's checking in everybody. You ain't on the list. Go home.
Before we get up out of here, though, I did want to touch on something. Not that we end it anytime soon, but I just want to make sure we make time for it. And thanks for doing the podcast with me, bro.
I love you, bro. Appreciate you.
I love you too, man. Which is taking me right to where we're getting ready to go to. Method Man was on Fat Joe's new show. Fat Joe has a new show on HBO Max, I believe. Talk show. And they got into talking about depression and Method sharing. He's had it for a very long time. Envy, who I know is not a favorite of everyone out there. DJ Envy from the Breakfast Club said that Fat Joe is someone who's good for just, hey man, just calling us, checking in on you. How you doing? You everything all right? And just letting you know, hey, I love you. I'm thinking about you. You know, man to man. And I wanted to talk about this here because that's something you and I.
Yes. I tell you all the time that you're great at doing that. You reach out and you check on folks and sometimes to your own default. It is important for us to check on one another, especially as men and as alpha men, because we are a minority nowadays. And, you know, we're used to just trudging along, making it happen. But even we need to get checked on.
Yeah.
Like, you good? Yeah, I'm good. No, bro, are you good? Man, it's been a rough week, you know. And have an outlet for you to speak or not be afraid of having a counselor, a therapist. You know, it used to be so
taboo.
Yes. And now I think that as a strong man who suffered from it, depression, you know, I had to go to counselors and talk to folks. So I know some of the signs now. I can see the swirl coming on folks.
Okay.
And, you know, tell them, listen, you can't fight. Once you're in the swirl, it's too late. So you got to catch it before you get in the swirl. Because if you're in the swirl already, you're just getting sucked in the hole. You know, so now it's just, you need a lifeline and an immediate lifeline to get somebody who's able to speak to that. And to whether it's a really good friend, but I say somebody who's trained in it, because as a friend, I could say, yeah, bro, come on, man, we got this. But I don't know clinically how to talk to the situation. So, you know, don't be afraid to seek counseling.
Yeah, because a bad day can just be a bad day.
Yes.
And then, you know, but if you suffer from depression, a bad day turns into a lot of bad days. And I know for myself, and I suffer from depression too, and he shared, I'm gonna share. I've never been to see anyone about it. You know, I've been trying to maintain it and feel like I have been. But I've also have become more aware of where my decline starts to happen.
And you're good at throwing the lifeline out saying, hey, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
Where earlier on you wouldn't have said it. But
100%.
It comes from having somebody that you know you can trust that's going to say more than just, man, take an aspirin and get over that. Man up. Like, that doesn't work because it's not just manning up.
And also because within our community, we're just not big on going and sitting on someone's couch and talking about our problems. Hell, we don't like to sit and tell our problems to each other.
Yes.
What happens in my house is what happens in my house. And never should any of this leave out that front door.
That's where we got trained as little kids, though. So it's built in to hold it all in. And again, as an alpha male, to go, well, you just got to put it on your back, put an H on your chest, and handle it.
Yep.
And there's some things that you just can't handle alone.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to have a friend, a wife, somebody that you can communicate with that is not going to look at you and judge you and say, oh, you're weak because you came to me and in need of help. Well, we all need help at some point.
And I'm with you because I don't feel like within the last few recent years, I can't give you an exact date or how far back, but probably not until as a community we became more okay with talking about it.
Yes.
And understanding that we go, not just the females of our community go through it, but the men go through it too.
I think we go through it more because we're so built like Tonka trucks.
Yes.
And we just go and go and go and go and go. And we don't have, like, women have an outlet. They talk. We don't talk. We might shoot the shit, but women, they have a community of friends that they, this one I can speak to, this one I can cry with, this one I can go shopping with.
Right.
Men, it's so weird, or that's not the right word, but just so alien for us to be able to tell, bro, I'm not having a good day, man, and it's been a couple days in a row.
Yeah.
And have somebody go, okay, bro, well, let's get together then. Let's talk. What's going on? Yeah. Because, man, normally it's like, man, come on, man. We don't talk about that.
Shake that shit off.
Yeah, yes. And now, because I went through it, I understand it, and I'm now like, well, you can't just shake that off.
No.
It doesn't just shake off.
No.
And you're so far gone to the point when you're actually admitting it, that shaking it off is the worst thing that you could do.
And the other part of it too, and I think a lot with alphas, you said alpha males a couple times. I'm an alpha, you're an alpha. We both wear that with pride. And I'm sure there's men out there who are going to find this audibly or visually who are consider themselves alphas. I feel like we have a harder time shaking it off because we feel like we're supposed to be able to carry it.
Yes.
And a lot of times, and forgive me, I know I've said a lot of times, so forgive me, but we're groomed that way. Like think about being the kid growing up as a kid, and your family sees you as the leader of the little crew of cousins.
Boys don't cry.
You got to carry the weight.
Yeah.
What happens to them is on you.
Yeah. If they get into something, it's going to be you the one to get in trouble, or you the one that's going to have to deal with it. And being one of the older cousins, yes, that was always the, look after the rest of them.
Yes, and so you get groomed to carry that, and grooming is we always only use as a word for those people that I can't say that word because I'm gonna throw this on YouTube, but you guys know what I'm talking about. But you can groom a child in other ways also.
Yes.
That can affect them down the road. I remember taking some ass whoopings for stuff I didn't do.
Yeah.
But because somebody else did it and it was on my watch.
Yeah, you got to pay for it.
You got to pay for it. And so you grow up and you carry that weight, and then all of a sudden you feel like I'm supposed to carry that weight. And I'm not supposed to be affected by it because I'm not supposed to cry. And I'm supposed to be able to do. And there's only so much any individual, as alpha as you want to be, can be able to do on any given time.
I shared with you earlier, I was 16 and traumatized at 16.
Yes.
By something that until 48 did not understand it. But respect or disrespect got you an immediate check.
Yeah.
And it was way to the left. It wasn't just a check. It was a complete, you're never ever going to do that again to me.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that I was broken as a little boy.
Yep.
Until I had discussions and we were talking, and somebody said, well, you're dealing with the respect issue, but what caused you to be so hard on that line? And I had to realize that it was something that happened when I was 14, 15 years old that broke me. And from that point on, I said, I'm always going to get respect. And sometimes it was skewed the wrong way, more times than not. So I'll say to you that, again, as men, alpha men, because I can't really understand the beta men. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I can't really get with it. Don't understand it.
They have their place because you have alpha females.
Yes. Well, that confuses me, that whole statement.
Okay.
Because again, as a woman, a woman will when she gets with an alpha will automatically, I don't want to say fall in line because people are going to take that the wrong way, but she will let him lead. As a beta, you're out of position.
Okay.
So as an alpha female, that's not what you're made to be. And I understand that you feel like I've had no other choice. Well, you have a choice in everything that you do. You chose to be the alpha because you dealt with beta. And alpha doesn't mean you paid the bills, you did this, you did that. That just means that you took care of what you were supposed to take care of. And I think we've made women feel like they are alphas because they took care of the household and had to take care of the kids because they got with a man who wasn't a man. He was a male.
Yeah, but I also think that some of that comes with the fact that there are beta males out there.
There's a lot of beta males, but that comes from them not knowing what an alpha male looks like.
Yeah, but I don't think here's where I guess I'll push back. Everybody can't be a leader.
No.
Everyone's not born to be.
But even in alphas, because when we get in the room with other alphas, there's still a pecking order of alphas.
This is true. This is true. I give you that.
I'm not going to be a beta because I'm in a room with a bunch of alphas. I just might not be as strong an alpha because you have more
you're right.
of whatever it is.
And that pecking order can shift.
Definitely.
Depending on the situation, depending on the room. Yeah. So I guess I can see what you're saying. I did just enjoy the piece of the conversation. I'm gonna go back and watch the entire interview, but I did just enjoy that piece of the conversation. Where Method opened up, and I believe he said he's going to write a book about his relationship between he and his mother. Which I would say this too. I do think it's important. Well, I'm starting to feel like it's even more important, that relationship between a boy and his mom and his mother. I believe, because I think that's been underrated.
Yes.
Because we've always talked about the relationship between a daughter and the father and not paid as much attention to the other side of that coin.
We all know that we say there are a lot of women out here with daddy issues.
Yes.
There are a lot of men out here or males out here with mommy issues because either mommy said, you're the man of the house, so you made him a man before he was able to be a man, so now he's confused, or you made him a beta because you were nobody going to run the house but me. So you made him inferior and so now he doesn't know what a man looks like. He knows what males look like, but he doesn't know what a man looks like. And they're two different things, not every male is a beta male, but every man is definitely an alpha.
Well, and I think growing up, you hear the advice being given to you as a man. You want to see what she's going to be like. Look at her mama.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't put a ring on her finger until you get to see her family and all these different things. And how does she interact with them? I think, and I've told females this for a long time, I do believe it's true to see what that relationship is like with he. Not to say his mother needs to be the greatest person, but how does he react to her in different times, in the good times and the bad times? I think that is a great indicator of how he's going to be able to deal with you and handle you.
Yes, because it's giving you an example of how he deals, whether it's grace, whether it's mercy, or whether it's none of the above. If he doesn't have a relationship with his mom at all, or it's really toxic, then he's probably has a toxic relationship with women because that's his first love.
Yeah, 100%.
That's every boy's first love is their mom. Yeah. And if their mom mistreated them, then they don't trust women. If their mom showed them stuff that they shouldn't have seen, and then they're skewed to think that all women are this way, whether it's right or wrong, we're a product of our environment. So, again, just like, women with daddy issues, there's a lot of people out here that have mommy issues or first love issues.
When you talk about depression, and you can be as specific as just with your own, or you can keep it general, how much of it you think for a young man comes from the nature, and how much of it is just something you just it's just in you? You're just born with this thing.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I know for me, and I'll let you think on. I'll answer first. I know for me, I think a lot of mine was from nature. Thinking back to some of the things I had to see and deal with and try to figure out, because my mother, and I always say my mother had 5 kids she raised, the 4 that she gave birth to and the 1, and that other dude, and her having that on her plate and trying to work every hour she had to work at General Motors and make sure that there was Christmas presents under the tree and all those things. Like, one of the things I always took away from my mom, in terms of who I wanted to be with when I wanted to settle, was somebody who worked as hard as her. Because I saw how hard she worked.
That was your first love.
That was
so you learn exactly whether it's good or bad. So you want somebody who's going to sacrifice for the family.
Yes.
That would do whatever it takes. Again, for me, I used to test women because I always wanted to see if you were going to push you to the breaking point. And I had to learn this about myself. I would push and push and push to see if you were going to be the one to say, well, you got to leave. Because when I was 14, 15, my mother said, you got to leave and go to your father's house. So I felt a sense of abandonment. So I always pushed to see if I could push you to see if you would be like, I'm done, you got to go.
Okay.
But I had to learn this later in life. It took me decades to figure it out.
Now, did you figure that out on your own, or did you?
No, listen, I can say that I have been fortunate. God has brought in some really patient women, some really understanding women. My wife would tell me all the time, like, you're broken. I'm like, I'm not broken. She was like, yeah, you're broken. You have some stuff that's broken in you from your past relationships that you need to figure out. Because I didn't do that to you. And I'd be like, you tripping, I ain't. And then I started to actually look at it and was like, oh, I am bringing some stuff that ain't got nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
I brought luggage from my first marriage.
And that's the important thing, is to have that honest conversation with yourself.
Yes. But it took looking back and going, well, wait a minute. I broke this one. I broke this one. I broke this one. I broke this one.
Common denominator.
Yeah, it's me. But it's those hard conversations when you're alone or when you have a good friend that you could say, like my friend tell me all the time, you like them beautiful and crazy. And I'd be like, huh? He's like, yeah, you like them pretty, but they got to be crazy too. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I like that little feistiness, So, but again, understanding yourself and being honest enough with yourself when you look in the mirror to say, that's not right. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't treat this person this way. Or I am who I am, and I got to own that part. And be like, yeah, I'm a MFer.
I've seen grown men, and I've talked to women who cannot get their heads wrapped around this for whatever reason. But I've talked to these women because I've known grown men who have been so affected by the lack of relationship that they had with their own father that they've sought out women who had kids.
Yeah.
Just so that they could say, I'm going to be able to do it better. Let me show the world. Let me show whoever in their mind, their heart, they're showing.
Yes.
Maybe it's just themselves. I can do this better than he did it.
Yes.
And and they stay in some terrible relationships to do it.
Yeah. Because they're that daddy hurt. Again, you talk about girls without their fathers, boys without their fathers. Because again, you can't tell me that you don't think, how bad am I that you didn't want to, your son. Again, it has to, like you didn't want a relationship with your son. I know I got some of it, and like, well, wait a minute. I get divorce happens, but with divorce happening, you still got to be in a relationship with your child. And I get that some women are really hard. I understand that. I've been around some. I understand it. But your child deserves you to fight for them.
Right.
And if you don't fight for them, then you have to deal with the latter effects of, hey, you know what? You weren't there for me. Well, I tried. Was I not worth this? Mm-hmm. You know, and those are hard conversations or hard thoughts to have as a father, as a man that, you know, like I have three kids and my kids are all grown. Mm-hmm. But at the same token, I know that each one of them have their own skewed relationship with me.
Yeah.
You know, oh, this is what I grew up thinking or felt. Yeah. And, you know, so it's important for even now to just reach back to them or make amends for. I mean, I told my ex-wife, I'm sorry. I wasn't prepared to be a husband. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm sorry. You caught a bad one. You caught me at the worst time in my life.
Right. That's grown man. That's grown man right there. And obviously she couldn't do nothing else with that, but to appreciate that, I would assume.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, it is, and you're right there. Sometimes you just catch, and ladies, vice versa. Sometimes a man can catch you, because y'all can go through it too in your own background. So sometimes a man can catch you at the wrong time, and you look up 10, 20 years later, you are a completely different woman, and you're like, oh man,
I hope so.
Yeah, and I wish I was that woman back then. But you're definitely right about that. I was telling someone else recently in terms of the relationship with parents. And I talk about me and my mom. Me and my mother did not have the greatest relationship when I was growing up for a lot of different reasons. You know, sperm donor had dropped off the face of the planet. You know, I had to step up a little more than I had already had to step up. She was going through her own things, stressed out, raising 4 kids, all those different things. And she never really realized this, but I did. She no matter what I did, it was never proud of you or I love you. Mm-hmm. And she never realized it, but I realized it every year of my life. But it wasn't until I was in my early 20s when we were just having a conversation, and I told her, and she said no. And no matter what.
And it had to have an effect on who you are now, so that. Do you think? Sure. Let me ask the question. Do you think that now is part of the reason that you are so determined or so, like, I don't want to say enough is enough, but your bar is not a settled bar. Like if you achieve something, then it's on to the next thing.
I would say, that's a large part of it. I mean, I would say there's a couple of different things. If I had to put my finger on something I knew it to be, I would say yes.
Okay.
I do think there's something else inside of me that I don't know what it is, because you and I have had this conversation. I don't know why I have that thing in me. And maybe it is. Maybe that's who you are. Maybe that's all that it is. That's why enough is never enough. Yeah. Why I gotta, I've done this, let's do this, and let's keep it moving. But what I do know is, and the point I wanted to make was, because I want everybody to hear this, is that I'm so happy that my mother and I were able to have that conversation. Yeah. And I tell people, you're a child until you're a child no longer. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to your parents, if you just hang in there long enough, not that my mother is my best friend, she's still my mother and I give her that respect. You see me with my mom.
Yeah. Moms ain't gonna let you do nothing else.
Right. They ain't gonna let me do nothing else. But you get to a point where you guys are kind of friends.
Yes. Well, you can have a conversation. Again, I pray with my mom. She calls me up and says, can you pray for me, son? Where it used to be beat me over the head with the word.
Yes.
Until I learned the word and then was able to communicate it back to her. So my kids now, I'm still dad. Mm-hmm. But we can have a conversation. We can go out. We can beard and have fun. Mm-hmm. But I'm always going to be dad.
But now you can have some conversations, and I know my mother and I do, where, now I understand why you did those things that I never like when I was a kid, I thought you were just the worst person in the world. Mm-hmm. But sometimes they do things based off their own upbringing. Yeah. But if you don't hang in there long enough and try to have these discussions later, then you never get a chance to figure that out.
Oh, Mom, that's why I think I was watching a movie and they were talking about why the father was so mean. Mm-hmm. And later on they found out the father was abused.
Yes.
And then you go, oh, okay, I didn't know that, Dad.
Yes.
Or your dad wasn't around. Your dad was working 60 hours a week, and then he died when you hit 25.
Yeah.
These are important things that we don't think about. Because as a kid, you see it only from one view.
Yeah.
But as you get older, like I told my son when he was 21, he said, well, I don't understand why you got divorced and you never told. I'm never going to tell you why I got divorced. It's not your place.
It's none of your business.
But now, since he's been in relationships and got a baby mama, we can have discussions of, oh, it didn't work out. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, I get it. Yeah, they're not always easy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not always easy in a relationship, So, even my daughter, like, just different conversations that you can't have when you're a child because you haven't been through anything.
Right.
You got to go through some stuff, and then we can have now I see it.
And I know I said it my way because I believe it's none of your business.
Yeah, listen.
It's whatever happened between me and your mom's, or
it's grown folk business.
Whatever happened between my mom and her ex, none of my business.
Yeah, again, that's what they were doing.
You want to share it? I would gladly be a sounding board for you.
Yeah, but if not, okay, it's not my business. How did you deal with it? You can tell me how you dealt with it, and maybe help me, give me some insight to not have to deal with it. Yeah. But ultimately, relationships, regardless of age, are hard to do.
Hard, even the ones that last.
Yes, it's about sacrifice, and that's the one thing that I know now that I didn't know when I was young. It's about sacrifice, and it's about going. You know what? I'm not gonna argue about this. I could, because my inner being wants to, but it's for what? You're gonna get mad, you're gonna be hurt, then I gotta deal with you being hurt. Mm-hmm. So I feel like an asshole. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. So it's a lose-lose situation. Sometimes it's just not worth, you're venting. Oh, let me think about it. Oh, okay, you're venting today. It's that time of the month. Whatever it is, I gotta sacrifice some stuff. Because I know my wife has sacrificed some stuff. Because again, I was definitely not the easiest person.
Yeah, I say that all the time.
Man, woo! Like people think, oh man, he's just I'm hard in certain things. I'm real. Like I like what I like when I like it and how I like it. And if you flip it up on me, wrong person.
I know for a fact that you and I have been in this position. I know for a fact at least one of you who are watching this has been in this position where you saw something in me and somebody, and you're like, he or she is with that person, but I gotta have him. Mm. And then you get them, and you're like, how can I give you back?
Yeah, man.
God bless the man or woman who had you before I got you, because I don't know how they did it. How can I give you back?
Yeah.
There's no return to sender.
No. And that's the bat. This is why I tell everybody, listen, vet the person that you're with.
Yes.
Vet, and I mean vet. If you can wait on sex, because sex confuses and clouds the situation, and then you make dumb moves. I could fix this. Oh, I don't see that. I can ignore that. Red stop signs, red lights are just what they are.
I agree with that.
Run away.
I agree with that.
Because it's not going to change. It's going to do nothing but get worse.
I agree with the vet part. I don't agree with the sex part. But I mean, whatever your vetting process is your vetting process. With Tamara and I waited till year 4 before I proposed, and we plotted the wedding out for a year to make sure everybody could save their money to fly in and all that kind of stuff. We had a great day. But I remember, like, when you gonna put a ring on? When you gonna put her? When I'm comfortable with everything I see in front of me.
Yes.
Not to say there was anything wrong with her, but I just wanted to be sure there was nothing wrong with her.
Because again, you and I both know. I just celebrated 9 years. Mm-hmm. It is not easy, and if you're not in somebody that you can stick in the trenches with, and have a bad day with, mm-hmm. a good day with, a mediocre day with, then you're in the wrong. It's too easy to just say I'm done nowadays.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, why get married? I got a special marriage certificate that requires me to wait a year before I could even think about a divorce.
Okay.
Because I knew old me is like, I've been through this before. Yeah. I know I could do this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cut the finger off. Yeah. I tell all the time. I'll be walking around like this. Snubby.
What are you telling us? Telling her what?
Yeah, I told her this early on. That's what I'm saying. I was hard. Like, listen, I've been married twice. Girl, I can do this again. I'm not doing this again. You ain't got to ever worry about it. I'm gonna cut the whole finger off.
I don't think I ever got that way about it. But I have always been someone who's comfortable that if this doesn't work, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Now she's of the mindset that when we die, we're gonna die together, like we did on the Notebook. Yeah. And I'm of this of the mindset. I'm telling everybody out there it was a murder suicide. We died together, so everybody need to look into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I was ever quite that hard. But it's good that you know that about yourself.
Yeah, I was hard. I was hard. Again, I was jaded. Again, I was jaded. I was arrogant.
But all of it from, when you talk about the jaded part, was it all from you as a child and what happened?
No, it was relationships along the way.
Okay.
I was stuck in my ways. I was already in my 40s. So I was like, listen, I am who I am and I'm not changing.
Right.
This is what I used to say all the time. This is who I am. It is what it is. And thankfully, I was mature enough and had enough wise counsel around me to go, well, you still can change. You still can grow. You still can get better. And she deserves it. And, she stuck in there, I stuck in there, and we grinded it out. And now we're,
I think there's something, I'm not going to mention this celebrity's name at all, but there's a story of a celebrity who was grinding and grinding and grinding to get to the point where he felt till he was making it. And I don't know I'm not saying this was a setup of any sort he had, but coincidentally when he did, he kind of left the wife he was with at the time.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
And I was talking to my mother about this, and I said, look, I love my wife, all right? And I still love her today. But I said, even if I didn't, just out of pure loyalty, I don't know if I could just up and leave her. Like, loyalty means a lot to me. You know how much it means. It means a lot to me. So much so that I'll share this, and you guys, if you subscribe and watch this podcast more, you'll probably hear me say it a few more times. But I remember when I knew I was going to propose was because I went to LA. We were 2 years into dating, went to LA. I wasn't even in the clubs here yet, just doing bar shows. And when I was in LA, I was just doing bar shows. It wasn't like I went there and did anything major. But I loved LA. I loved the energy of it. I loved that everybody there was on their grind. It just kind of spoke to me more than Phoenix did in that sense. And it still does. I still really enjoy LA when I go out. But when I talked to her the first morning after I was there that first night, she said, how did it go? I was like, I love it here. It is so great. This is that, and da-da-da, and da-da-da. And the first thing she said was, well, what do we have to do to get there?
Again, that team player, willing to hitch my trailer to you. Right. For me it speaks volumes for me. Again, I nothing more that you could say to me than whatever you're going to do, baby. Whatever you think, I'm going to do. We're going to do it, and not if you're going to do it by yourself. No, it's a us, or because if it's me, then don't worry about it.
Right. Right.
I'll show you better than I can tell you.
And I want to make sure I paint the picture up for people out there to know. I'm not talking about a woman who, and nothing against anybody here. I'm just using examples. She was not, bagging groceries. She wasn't waiting for me to make it so that she has a career. It was going well then. It's going great now. This was a woman who said, I'm going to drop everything that I built here to go out there and do that. And we actually spent a summer trying to do that, her trying to find a job in her field, and she couldn't find anything. And she said, you know what? I'll just take a job as a cashier. And I said, the hell you will.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be issues for us down the road. At least that's what I saw.
Just the fact that she was willing to sacrifice that speaks volumes. Like again, it's hard out here, and I know a lot of folks may not see it. It's hard, but everybody that I know is out there. It's hard.
Yeah, we hear that a lot from folks.
Yeah, it's hard. Finding a good man or a good woman is hard because there's so much mediocre stuff.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the folks, you correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of folks that we hear that from are people who are not young anymore. Yeah. So, I mean, Like I tell fellas all the time who are picky. I say, bro, you working a good job.
Yeah.
You got a nice home over there or whatever, but you not balling.
Yes.
So you got
to lower your expectations a little bit. You want Queen Sheba, and you only looking in the corner store.
Yeah.
She's not going to walk in out of that store or out of that club. You have to find her in the library.
Yeah, I mean, especially with these women today, when they are able to do so much of their own, and they love being independent, and they're making bank.
Worst curse in the world.
What?
An independent woman.
You say worst curse?
Curse again.
What?
It's a curse. Anytime you say I'm independent, I don't need.
Okay.
How do you join up with somebody if you don't need anybody?
Okay.
Because you're speaking that into existence. I'm independent. I'm whether you're an independent voter, I don't go one way or the other. I'm by myself.
You know what? I never thought about it like that, because Tamara does not speak in that way, and she could.
Yeah.
And she doesn't speak in that way at all.
Because, again, in order to find another half, you have to be open to the other half. And if I got everything I need by myself, then, again, I see it all the time with women who've gotten divorced or raised all of their kids and now are grown in their late 40s, early 50s. Mm-hmm. There's nothing out here for them.
Yeah.
Because you've been independent so long, you've done it yourself, that you don't even know how to submit to a man or what a man can do.
You done said the S word.
Well, listen, it's a word, and it's an important word.
Send all of your hate messages in care of David Greaves.
Yes, I'll take it all. I'll answer it. Again, if you truly understand the definition of the word, it's not a 4-letter word as you want. When he means submit, I mean, let your man be a man. Yeah. That's what he's positioned to do, because if somebody breaking that front door, you want that man to go to the door. If you got to go to the front door because he's hiding behind the bushes, let him go.
In care of David Greaves.
Send it on.
I will say this, is just to circle it back, though. Whomever you decide, and we're going back to what we're talking about with Method and Fat Joe, and where we start with you and I think we both would agree that it is just as important that your mate, my mate, your mate, be also someone who understands that, okay, this depression thing, and this is where I'm at with it, and I'm doing my best with it, and just be understanding to that, to a certain degree.
Know how to speak life to you, though, also. It's super important to know that I understand that you're struggling, but I'm still going to speak life. I'm not going to, man, you're still suffering.
Yes.
You can't speak down to it because it's a disease like anything else. If it was a drug addict, you can't stop smoking.
Yeah.
No, you have to be able to speak life to it. Well, what can I do to help you, babe? I see you've been struggling for a week. You good? Do I need to call somebody up? Do we need to go what can I do to make you happy? And sometimes it's nothing, but just the fact that you said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's an internal thing, so it's not always something that you can do to make it click one way or the other, but you can make it go deeper down.
100%. Yeah, you can step on my neck.
Yeah, and drown me in the water,
How'd you die in that puddle? She stepped on my neck.
So.
Yeah, it is something. I'm glad we had that conversation, man, because I sent that clip over to you because I said, man, this is something that maybe we can talk about today. And I knew you would
it's important.
Get out of it what I got out of it.
It's important. We don't speak to it enough, especially as men and as minority men. We definitely don't speak to it. It's like a taboo. Oh, no, I don't need help. We all need help. Mm-hmm. So get the help. Don't be afraid to get help. Don't be afraid to say, I need help. Again, somebody in your circle you should be able to talk to and say, man, I'm having a hard time. And if not, then go outside of that circle and pay somebody or find somebody that can help you.
Yeah, yeah. On a lighter note, before we get out of here, I want to say this to everyone who's watching this. If you are in a city that has a comedy club, get up and go buy tickets and go out and support the local comics. Yeah. Maybe go hit an open mic at a bar if you don't have a comedy club. Just get out. It's very, very, and I'm being selfish when I say this. It is one of the greatest art forms ever created, and it does not get enough respect and enough love. So if you're here in Phoenix and you're in St. Louis, which is where I was at last week with Helium, oh, you know what? Before I get out of here, I don't know if he'll ever see this, but I want to give 2 shout outs. So I went out, headlined the smaller room, and I'm saying that because of what I'm getting ready to say. I headlined the smaller room. First time I did that for Helium in St. Louis. Had a great time. Staff there is awesome. From Rachel all the way down. Everyone out there is just great. Earthquake was over in the larger room. And sold it out, man. I was in what they call the garage room. He was in the main room. And he sold it out. I believe they had to add another show. He was doing so well in terms of ticket sales there. And I took my homegirl out there, August. She was one of my openers. And if you never met August, August is very vibrant, big personality, a lot of fun, and not shy about shit. So she got us into the green room with him, and he was very gracious enough to give us some time, which was important to me, going back to what we were talking about, because that first show in St. Louis did not go well for me in terms of attendance. And I was not having a good mental moment before or after that show, and was able to go back there and just say, hey, man, he said, so you're doing it? I'm doing it. I said, I tried to do it. I ain't had that many people. And he just that one little bit of word of encouragement, which was, just don't quit. Mm-hmm. I've been there, bro. Just don't quit. Keep going. Just kind of turned my whole thing around. So I'm sharing the story of twofold. One, shout out to August, shout out to Earthquake. And then also, as I think you said earlier, words have power. Words have life. And it doesn't take much to give a kind word to someone. You don't know what anyone is going through, how they're feeling. It doesn't take much just to give a kind word.
So much easier to be nice than nasty. And when you came home, I told you whether it's 8 or 800 or 8,000.
Yeah.
You're doing it for the craft
100%.
And not for the bodies. And that's how I think, to go back to the first story, is that they forgot what they were doing, who they were doing it for. And it became about them. And then it becomes ego and not what you're doing. Because if you're doing it because you love it.
Yeah.
You would do it not to get paid, but as I say, bodyguard work, I do it good enough, you're going to pay me.
Right.
But you would do comedy for free, but you do it good enough that you're going to pay me.
Right.
So whether it's 8,000, that same energy, it will keep you humble and remembering, I remember when I had the 8 people. I remember when I had the 80 people. I remember when I had the 8,000 people. They're all the same.
Yeah. And that second night of shows was absolutely amazing. So shout out to everybody in St. Louis that came out. And shout out to everybody who walked up to me and said, hey, man, we're here because we saw your special on YouTube and we love that. So we had to come out and see you.
Yes. Check out the special, folks. Come on. Let's get to 300,000.
Yeah. He's pushing for that. We were at 155 and change when I went today.
I want 300.
Hey, man, I wanted to. I'm for a guy who didn't know what I was going to get when I made it and put it out, for it to be dropped in March and get to 155,000, I'm elated with that number. But you know me, I still want more.
Yeah.
I still want more.
You're going to Detroit when?
I will be up in Grand Rapids area. I don't want to say because I'm a surprise my mom.
But aren't you doing a show?
I am. I'm in Grand Rapids.
I'm trying to get the show, folks,
I know.
to come out to the show.
I know. But
I threw him a softball. You see that?
I did. But my mom might be coming out, so I'm trying to, surprise.
Oh, she gonna watch this? Mom, love you.
She may. I think on the sneak she watched the special.
Yeah,
she won't say it
because you cussed.
My mother has never seen me do comedy, as far as I know, but she shared the special.
Okay,
she shared it, and I was like, I think she watched it.
Yeah,
because it'd be cursing.
Yeah,
I think she watched it though. But yeah, shout out, man.
She laughed. I shouldn't be laughing at this. Jesus, forgive me.
No, I'm gonna tell you, she probably watched it. She's taking notes because she always told me. She said, "If you talk about me, you know I'm gonna sue you." Yeah. I'm gonna get my check.
I told him not to say nothing, Ma.
I'm gonna get my check. And before we get out of here, too, though, I want to talk a little bit about my brother over here, Dave, and what he does too, man. And it might be somebody in the Phoenix market.
Yeah, listen, firearms instructor. You want to come on out? DavisMark.com. Come on out.
DavisMark.com. Come on.
If you're coming to Phoenix to visit, come on out. We'll take you out shooting, train you up, keep you safe. Have a great time.
Yeah, we do more than just get on here and talk.
Yeah.
Okay, our wives should know this.
Yes.
I mean, make sure they know. We do more than just chat. I don't know why I said chip. All right, we ain't thought of a name for this podcast, so we just gonna say bye. Yes.
Peace and love.
Oh, it ain't Soul Train. Everybody have a good week. We'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.